Good morning, boys and girls, and welcome back once again to the southern wing of the Stink Bug Works. As any good pilot knows, your flight isn't over until the aircraft is tied down, all the paperwork's done, you sit down and you have a cold one and you do a post-flight debrief. Now, if you're still serving with the military, you forego the cold one. But you always do a post-flight debrief, either with your commanding officers or your buddies, in which case the cold beverage and some slight exaggerations might appear. But before we get into the post-float debrief, I want to answer Big B's question. And Big B's question was about hardening props. Now, back in the late 1990s, I was flying model airplanes and met a fella named Brian Buhas. Now, Brian Buhas built absolutely gorgeous and insanely fast pylon racers. And the guy had my eyes were starting to go back then, and I couldn't fly 180 mile an hour airplanes 10 feet off the ground, but Brian's eyes and reflexes were good, and he built some of the coolest, fastest stuff around. So years later, I go up to Leg Lake, and here's Brian with a motor home and a whole setup of a bunch of boats and his tools and such. And I said, Brian, I didn't realize you were into boats. He said, yeah. I think he's more into boats than, in fact, the pylon racing. Anyway, Brian and I sat down and we started talking, and we were talking about props, and I'm looking at his box of props, and they're all Octura props or ABC props, but they all have this deep, dark color to them. So I say, Brian, are you heat treating these things? And he said, yeah, and he kind of went through the whole process. But here's the deal. You need to know your temperatures. Know your temperatures. Very important. You need to get a thermometer or something that can get your temperatures, or get really good at colors, because the color of the material will change. But the cooling and heating process, well, in a nutshell, it works like this. If you heat up brass or any combination of brass and cool it really quickly, it does the opposite of what it does to steel. It softens it. So you can soften your brass, do all your shaping, machining, and such while it's soft. You can, and all your cupping and all that. And then once you get it dialed in, then you heat treat it. And here's where you got to find somebody that knows what they're talking about and follow their recommendations, because the time and temperature and cool down time and temperature drop over cool down time is important. So find somebody that, go to one of the local universities into a metallurgical class and find out what they know. But find out somebody that knows what the hell they're talking about, So there's my advice to Big B. I know basics, but I can't tell you specifics. Okay, on to the post-flight debrief. There you go, Big B. On to the post-float debrief. Well, this thing was a failure. What happened is, as it started to go, this would come out of the water and I would have no steering. or I was going so slow that anything it did was more of a plow than a... So it might work when it's up on step. I don't know. The CG being here, maybe it needs to be... I might take, before I disassemble this, I might take it out one more time and just tape some lead weights here and see if that does anything. So this idea, while it's not 100% failure, it is 99% failure. But it was a fun experiment. And here's the cool part. It cost me nothing. Everything was stuff I had on hand. Number 2, the semi-success. And I think I got this nailed down. So at first, I had an 1800 milliamp battery across here. Now, there's 2 things preventing me from moving it further aft: the motor and the hull. Boy, my voice. Anyway, the answer is simple. I have a bunch of those airsoft packs that are long and thin, and they all fit here. I've got lithium ion packs that'll fit here. I've got lipo packs that'll fit here. I've got all sorts of packs that'll fit here. And when I was running it with the battery here, the balance point was right here on my bolt. Really, that's a little far forward. And so in the real world, you want to run it kind of at the trailing edge. So pulling the batteries back here, no problem doing trailing edge. And I can go Y connector and get insane run times. I mean, this thing doesn't draw a whole lot of current. If I put a 1200 milliamp pack there, it'll go a good long time. If I put 2 1200 milliamp packs there, you'll get bored. So there you go. The post-float debrief. Post-float debrief. I'm forgetting about my only success, the little green boat, the 450. That's how that thing should have run as it came from the box. My gremlins were loose wires. Poor solder joints are getting overflexed, whatever, but were loose wires and speed control getting wet, both of which can be easily resolved, and I think the newer kits at least address the speed control. The motor wires was just a fluke. So you finally got to see how it runs. I got a little too much rudder. I need to dial that down, but you can do stupid, hey, watch this tricks with it. And the self-righting happens really quick. I like that. A lot of boats take a while to sink, flip over, So it was quick on that. There you go, boys and girls. Until next time. Oh. What boats would you like to see run the next time? Those of you that know the fleet, let me know. I haven't run the Bat boat in a long time. I needed one little bit of tweaking on it. I think I got it dialed in. We'll just have to see. Until then, boys and girls, jet out.